I went through a lot of different phases in high school in discovering who I was. So I first started off doing the graffiti art, because that started off in junior high. Then I got my ass busted and I was on probation, so I couldn't go nowhere. So what did I do? I went raving in the middle of the night. Did drugs. Did a lot of drugs, but then I discovered drug dealing was a lot more fun keeping the money and using the money than actually doing the drugs. 4, that also got me around with a crew to protect myself so I don't get shit stolen, aka a gang and stuff like that. And I moved around from different cities and whatnot. To sum it up, I was living the West Coast hip hop dream.
Freshman year, I was into like really punk rock phase where I was really into like that whole like skater crew thing too. Moving on like throughout high school, I just kept evolving into these different phases of myself. So it's like it went from punk to like hip hop, and I was into like rapping stuff. I was like really into like Bone Thugs.
She's like rapping papers.
And then towards the end of high school, I got into like the whole party crew phase where it was like every weekend we would go to parties, we would like crazy with like drinking, bless you, drinking, and then like doing all kinds of like weird stuff like Nas, like
whiteouts, paint thinner.
not that weird, but
We would have been friends then.
yeah, I feel like we would have been friends because
I had friends that looked like you.
I think in high school I lived a very like duplicitous life, like in the sense of because my father was a pastor, and you know I was very heavily involved in church, so that was like my whole Christ identity. But at the same time, like you grew up poor and underprivileged, you know these people that you grew up as kids, they didn't grow up to be the best people, but you still wanted to be friends with them, so you wanted to roll with them too. But at the same time, because you have good parents, you still want to be a good kid. So I didn't fuck around in school so much, but after school, it was all hell broke loose. Like I would sneak out, and at the end of the day, like if you were to describe me, I was a dweeb. I was a geek. I like geeky shit. I like games and whatever, but at the same time, you can't get rid of the people that you grew up with. So those things also influence you as well. So I consider myself like, they call it, you know, halfway crooks. Like you wanted to kick it with like the people who gangbang, but you never went all the way through. And the only reason why they kept me around because I was a funny dude.
Out of everybody here, I feel like I've lived like the cleanest, or I guess the most innocent and the most sheltered life, because I didn't stray anywhere too far away from it because it was comfortable. I was a very socially awkward kid, and I feel like I still am a socially awkward person. I loved anime at that time. I would play Pokemon nonstop. I got into just like rock music. I knew like my parents had high expectations of me, so I tried to do well in school, and then I tried to like take honor classes whenever I could. At that time, it was just trying to be like a good kid, really.
So I grew up like in super ghetto neighborhood, like I'm talking about like random kids, gunshots. There was always like a drive-by going on, like our next door neighbors, it was kind of like a project, but they were apartment buildings, but that's where like they would sell a lot of drugs.
Crack house.
So like that's the type of environment that like my house was like in, but my parents did such a great job at like sheltering me from that like even though I lived in that environment, I wasn't part of it. They would remove me from whatever school system I had to grow up in, and they would put me like in a more middle class, higher like income type of school. So I was always kind of like conflicted. I was constantly trying to like seek out who I was because I didn't really relate to either side of it. And at the same time, because my parents were so strict, that like I really couldn't hang out much. So I was always like this really like sheltered emo kid, just like leave me in my bubble, like I just want to be by myself and take photos all day.
I didn't really grow up in the hood, but mad shit was happening during that time. And yeah, you were hard, but you also knew who the real thugs were. Like I had homies that would pull a trigger on someone easy, no questions asked. I'd be like, fuck, if a gun really fell in front of me, would I be able to go up to someone's face and like just blast them like that? And a lot of the times I'm like, fuck, I don't think I can be able to do that. Like the first time I ever got my hands on a gun, I think I was like 14, and I was also in a gang too. I was trying to act hard, but within my baggy ass pants, my fucking legs were shaking. I was like, fuck, this is a fucking killing machine. But then at the same time, I felt like I like music, motherfucker, and I'm like playing drums in the fucking garage. And that's like something that none of my gangster homies really understood. Like I felt like I had like this creative aspect to me, and I also enjoyed raving. So like back in those days, it was all about plur, where you just love everything, everyone's your best friend, you pop these pills, you're giving people's massages. So it was like all these different weird personalities bundled into one where like, yo, I'm gonna be your best friend, but if you fuck with me, I'm gonna fucking kill you. But I also love art, motherfucker.
I think for me personally, I still haven't changed the way that I make friends. I was always a social butterfly. So I had friends that were like the bad influences in high school, but I also have friends who are just like nerds too. Cause I was interested in like, what the fuck is that? Magic cards, what the fuck? And then like they were like, yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to play. I'm wired. This is fire. This is fucking water. And I'm like, really? What the fuck, man? And then I brought that shit to church and I got my fucking church friends into magic cards. And like, I don't know. I feel like I didn't choose people if they were cool enough or whatever. When it comes to you guys, I would have been your friends regardless.
I think so too, because that was me in high school. It's like I feel like we were really similar because I had friends because of all those different stages that I went through. I made friends with all types of people, especially because by the time we got to high school, I had grown up with that entire school. Like we had started from elementary, we all moved to middle school together, and then now we're all in high school. Because of that, like, you know, I was able to grow up with everyone, and even though everyone went in their own direction of their interests, like we were still able to get together and still be friends and share those different interests with each other. I feel like we would have been friends for sure.
Well, we were into the same shit. Like I was into party crews and stuff too, so.
I think all of us have that like certain ability to a certain extent because everybody has a different face in high school. You know, when you kick it with this group, you were that person.
Yeah.
When you kicked it with that
Well,
group,
for me
you
it
were
was
that person.
harder because while you guys were like hanging out and like going to these parties and shit, like it was so hard for me to connect with people outside of school because it's like as soon as like those bell rings and like, you know, you had to go home, like I had to go home and I was completely removed from like, cause you're like in your own little bubble,
Why don't you
know?
just sneak out though?
How do I sneak? Like my hood is fucking ghetto. Like how am I supposed to sneak
If
out?
you sneak out, you're captured.
I'm fucking, I'm dead. You see, you guys would have been my friends because I would have wanted, or maybe you guys wouldn't have befriended me, but I would have wanted to like live vicariously through you guys because I'm like, really? What was that party like? Fucking tell me. Yeah, because I had girlfriends that like would go out and they were part of the party crews and they were like my close homegirls, but then like I just couldn't really like relate to them.
It's so funny because I
outside of
didn't
that.
have friends like that were like you.
Yeah.
They would tell me too, like, wait, so how was that party like,
Yeah.
or whatever, and then I'd be like, yeah, so I snuck out and then we did.
And then we got some weed and then we did this.
Yeah,
And like I'd be telling them.
But I never snuck out to go to parties though. I snuck out to kick it with these fucking degenerates, which is them fucking like.
You were the guy that hung out, but you refused to do the drugs, but you were just always there.
Exactly. That's what
That's
I
why
was.
you were fun.
Yeah.
So I was the dude that was just funny.
Yeah.
So that's why they wanted to
would've
kick it
loved
with
They're
me.
like, I want to get stoned and fucking laugh at David.
Exactly.
I think if anything in high school, I don't think we would be friends. If anything, it would be acquaintances.
I don't think I'd be your
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or either that, it's just like you guys would be people that I would love to like meet and hang out with, or just people that I admire. Or it's just like
Admire these degenerates.
Doing fucking thing though,
exactly, because it's just like
Because they're like, ooh, they're the bad ones. They're my
yeah,
friends.
no, but it's because you guys have something that like I feel like I wouldn't be able to experience, or I wouldn't bring myself.
But
to
see, you and I would have been friends though because my high school me was different from outside high school me.
You guys would have been friends through the animus.
Yeah, because remember I told you
yeah.
I was a geek, so I still like games and anime,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this shit, because those friends were the ones that I related to the most.
I think we would have been acquaintances. I don't think I'd be able to be like crazy homies because I wouldn't be able to relate to you guys.
You wouldn't be able to go out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to relate because like the shit that you guys are doing would freak me the fuck out.
But I think, honestly, I think I would have been friends with everyone just
Yeah.
because not only was I able to like kick it with different types of people just because I went through like a skater phase, drums, whatever, I also thoroughly enjoyed when I was able to bring my friends together. So by the time I was my sophomore year in high school, half the drumline were now thugs, and none of them even played drums before. Same thing with my Boy Scouts. Like we went to this Boy Scout like all white jamboree, and then they saw us, and then now like they see all these Boy Scouts with earrings, bald, with big ass pants. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this Boy Scout troop? Because I'd be like, yo, camping is so fucking tight, dude. You get to shoot guns, you can go do this, and my homies be like, alright, fuck, I ain't doing anything anyways. I'm like, just come down to the fucking meeting, dude. And I really enjoyed bringing all my friends together. We started smoking weed in tents and stuff like that. And I think that was the type of person that I am, where it's like, I had a lot of friends in different groups, but I found the biggest joy when I was able to bring them all together. And like if you took like an AP class,
Yeah.
I probably would have been friends with you, because like although I wasn't very academic, I'm still competitive just like I am on JK Party. So I would be like, wait, who got the best grade last year or last semester? Oh, she did? I'm gonna fucking smash her on the test. Then I'm gonna go gangbang, motherfucker. So that was
That's your
I would have been so
personality type,
scared
though.
of you guys.
I had friends like you guys. I
didn't care about school.
Maybe we wouldn't have been friends because you,
You know what,
fuckers
though?
were never in school.
Squad goals, I think we're fucking awesome as role models because we actually don't like each other, but we pretend that we do on camera. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's really interesting how a bunch of us who probably wouldn't really hang out like in junior high and high school come together and we enjoy each other's company. I think back then I wanted to be around people who were more like me, I guess, or similar to what I was thinking about. But now it's like I actually want to be around people that I'm not used to because they teach me a lot.
You know, we know how we are when the camera turns off. Like, it's not like an act that we put on for you guys, and it's like, you know, whatever you see on camera, like how we fuck around and we joke and we talk to each other, like that's literally how we are, you know, once the cameras turn off. And it's really cool that you guys are like that. I guess we're genuine enough for you guys to be able to see that, you know, like where you guys are like, oh shit, like they actually get along and it seems like they really like each other, like squad goals. I'm like, oh, that's tight. Like we kind of are pretty chill.
Yeah, every time I see those squad goal comments, I'm like, no, I love my friends. I'm so lucky and I'm so happy to be a part of this crew because I really love like the dynamic that we all have. Because not only are we friends, but we're like family.
You know
Like,
why?
we have
It's
that
because
bond.
we probably went through that fucking phase of like there's drama within the group and all that when we were younger.
Hell
And then we
yeah.
grew up out of that and we're like, man, fuck those kind of friends. And then we wanted to keep this group like away from all the negativity, the drama, the fucking in-house jealousy, all that fucking bullshit that other people experience. And every time I experienced that in a different group, I ran away from them. Because I was like, fuck this group, man. I don't want to be around. It's like being in a fucking dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Like,
Me too, I hate drama.
yeah, I hate that shit. And I think all of us aren't like that. That's why we're really selective with our friends. So then once we do find that group, it's like, oh shit, like, no new friends.
I think another reason why we're friends, and I think people, they only see the finished product, is because we actually been through shit together.
That's true. We already fought it out. And
Yeah.
we already talked it out.
We started at a point where like we were under 100,000 subscribers, you know? Like we met David at a film festival. We were small channels. Casey grinded with us. We used to work out of the front office. None of us got paid. There was a lot of free work going around for like a year or two. So I think when you guys grind together and work hard together and actually have to struggle together, a lot of bond. It's like that camaraderie that military has when they're in the trenches together, and then when you come back, it's like that bond is extra tight. But a lot of times when friendships, when they're not tested,
True.
and then they just, you know, all they do is just go shopping and watch movies together, there's no substance there, and it's hard to reach that type of bond unless you guys have actually gotten each other's backs.
That's true.
This is so true, man.